Now, oh, that's what I'm trying to do here. Yeah, good afternoon. Hello. Please say hello. We're on, if you go on to chat, say hello, we know where you're coming from. And if you, oh, there's Roger. Well done, Roger. Always the first one to say hello. Lovely to see you again. Well, I can't see you actually, but know you're with us.
If you put a message on chat, make sure you click all panelists and attendees if you want everyone to read it. If you just want Liz and I to read it, just panelists. Excuse me.
Does mine work as well? Yes, it does. That's good. Right, so
we'll just wait for a few more. We've got 43 registered. We've got 21 so far, so we'll wait a bit longer.
Okay, great. Hello. Hello, Alan. Hello, Sharon. Hello, Eileen. Hi, Vanda. I've got a dog, but not a puppy. He's a bit quieter. Vanda will understand that one. Hi, Claire. Hi, Marilyn. Anybody else sitting up? 1:30. Let's just wait for Robert and Helen. Well done. Hello. Just while we're waiting for people, just to say again, do use the chat as we go along for comments. You know, if you've got some helpful suggestions yourself, then you can put that into chat, and then everybody will see that. Don't forget to click where it says to, just above where you type your message. There's a drop down there. So if you click the drop down, it says panelists and attendees. If you just do it as it is at the moment, it'll just be Christine and myself who see that, but then everybody else will see it if you click that down there. And then in the questions, you'll see at the bottom of your screen, probably some people occasionally have it at the top of their screen, but most people at the bottom, the Q&As. Now that's probably the space to put your specific question, because we can answer those directly without them getting mixed up in the chat. And we'll answer those usually halfway through after the first section. We'll look at some of those and then answer those at the end as well. Okay, we can't, if this is the first time you've joined us, welcome, really pleased to see you. This will be saved, and we're hoping to get them on the website at some point.
Yeah, they will be on the website, hopefully next week. They'll be up on the website. So
next week, and we will also send out the slides from today. So you'll have a record of those. There's some links on those website on the slides as well. So you haven't got to be quickly trying to write those down. And it's there. Great, we've got a good number of people joining us today around the place. Hello, Gret. Can you see me? No, we can't see you because we just set this up so that it's not like a Zoom meeting where everybody can see each other. It's easier to manage that way, and so you can see us, but you can't see anybody else. So it doesn't mean you can get yourself a cup of tea, eat crisps, not worry about it. And great, also got Celia. Hi, Celia. And yeah, Celia, who did the lovely virtual flower festival, Celia, wasn't it? I've sent that to a few other dioceses to show them the wonderful thing you did there. Etienne, hello. Andrew and Shelley. Hi, Shelley. Marvellous. So, just to do a quick introduction, I think most people know who we are now. I'm Liz Wallace, and I'm the parish support advisor for the diocese, and Christine as well, so half of us as well. And today I'm just hosting this. I'm having a nice sit back and join in, and Christine is going to lead us today on the subject of online giving. But just before she starts, we will open in prayer. Let's take a few moments to sit in God's presence. Lord Jesus Christ, you taught us to love our neighbour and to care for those in need, as if we were caring for you. In this time of anxiety, give us strength to comfort the fearful, to tend the sick, and to assure the isolated of our love and your love, for your name's sake. Amen. Right, over to Christine now.
Thank you. Yeah, hello everybody, you're all very welcome. As Liz said, I'm another parish support advisor. My name is Christine. I think most of you know me by now, but if you're here for the first time, you're very welcome too. Okay, I think I'll just share my screen and then we'll get started. Okay, so first of all, the webinar this week is called Getting Started with Online and Contactless Giving. First of all, I'm going to look at online giving. Now, some of you will have been to a webinar a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now, I think, about online giving. So there'll be a lot of repeat in the online section, although I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on that. And then we're going to look at contactless giving using card readers as well at the end of it. So as Liz said, as we go along, please put your questions in the box and either Liz will answer them as we go along or we can answer them in the question and answer session when we get there. Okay, this isn't working. Hold on, why is that not working? There we go. Okay, so first of all, why would we want to use online giving? Well, of course, at the moment with churches closed and services not happening, and probably for a long time services, even if they start happening, will not happen in the usual way. There'll be fewer people able to attend church even when we start again opening our buildings. So online giving just enables people to give when they can't give in the usual way. Because many people still want to give, but they find they can't because they can't use their envelopes, they can't put their cash in the collection plate. It's quick, it's convenient, and it is the way people do things now. You'll find that payments for anything and take place online these days. A lot of transactions take place online. People use PayPal and all sorts of different ways to pay for things. So it is the way things are done these days, and it will become more and more so into the future. And so we're looking at this as not a quick fix, but a permanent fixture. So something that, of course, at the moment we really need it because there aren't many ways we can give at the moment. But even into the future, if we set this up now, this will be something we can continue to use in the future. And it's, yeah, as I say, it's the way that things will be done more and more as time goes on. So it's as if the pandemic has fast forwarded what would have happened anyway. The church would have gone more into doing things this way anyway, and we just kind of had to do it quite quickly because of the challenges we're facing at the moment. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat today. So the link at the bottom there to Parish Resources gives you a bit more information about online giving. All these slides will be sent to you probably tomorrow morning. So these links you'll be able to click on there and get some more information from that. So this is the online giving sandwich. So there are 3 things that are important when you're thinking about setting up online giving for your church. Firstly, the bottom slice of bread on the sandwich, so that the bottom piece there is your web presence. You need to have a presence on the internet. So you need to have a church website, a page on a church near you, Facebook, Twitter, all these different things. It's good to have some sort of web presence. There's no point having online giving if you're not there on the internet for people to access that. The filling of the sandwich in the middle there is signing up with a provider. You need to sign up with an online giving provider or platform to enable people to give that way. And then the top slice of bread is promotion. You need to tell people that you have this way of giving. You need to promote it. You need to get it out there so people can see that what you have, because there's no point signing up to a provider and then just sitting and waiting for people to give that way. You need to get out and tell people about it. So you need to have all three parts of that sandwich together to make a whole thing. That important bit in the middle, signing up with the provider, but making sure that you are present on the web and that you do promote it and tell people about your online giving. So getting started, firstly, you need to choose your online giving provider. There's all sorts of different providers. There'll be providers everyone's heard of, like Just Giving and others, but there's all sorts of different ones. To get some of the best deals, it's a good idea to register with Parish Buying. If you're not already registered with Parish Buying, it's a good idea anyway, because you get lots of discounts for buying all sorts of different things. But for online providers, the church has negotiated good deals through Parish Buying. So register with them and sign up with your provider through Parish Buying. And I'll go into more detail about the best option through Parish Buying later. After you've signed up with a provider, you add links, buttons, like the little blue button on this picture, onto your online giving pages. So you can put them on websites, you can just put them into emails, on social media, so that people can just click and then they get through to your online giving page. And that's a really easy way to give. QR codes are good as well. You can have a QR code that is either on screen or it can be printed if you're delivering service sheets, or maybe when the church is open, you might have a poster in your church with a QR code which people can scan with their mobile phone, and then that will link through to their online giving platform. On a church near you, they now have their own giving button which you can customize to link to your giving provider that you signed up with. So that's worth looking into as well if you use a church near you. Or you can simply, you don't have to use a button or a QR code. You can simply use the URL link for your online giving page, which you can then put into emails, you can put into printed materials so people can easily use that. Now, this link, and useful videos, there are videos that take you through the process. I'll show you a clip of one of those in a moment. But this link at the bottom on parish resources, that gives you lots of information on receiving online donations, but in particular in that link you'll find a list of all the different providers and the advantages and disadvantages, the costs involved with all those different providers. And Liz, are you going to just pop that up for us to have a look at? This, what Liz is going to show us now, you'll find on this link at the bottom here.
Share screen. Yeah, this is it. Just to give you an example, this is really helpful because all the ones either you might have already heard of, like Just Giving, and we've talked quite a lot about GiveALittle. It shows you the comparisons there for how much they cost and basically how much out of the £10 donation you might get, for example, how much that company is deducting. So that's why we talk about GiveALittle. And the other advantage about that at the moment is that the Archbishop's Council have actually paid for the premium membership of that up until December. So it means you can get the gift aid done for you at the same time. Normally it does cost a little bit more in some of them to do that. It's also easy to cancel. There's no fixed time that you've got to be with them, no contract in that sense. So that's why GiveALittle seems to come at the top of the list. But if you're already using others, that's fine as well. It might just be easiest for you to do that. But it does give a useful thing. And then when you scroll down on this particular page, the others, different questions that could be asked about that. Just Giving is one that is used quite a lot. Useful because it's free to set up. Transaction course, My Giving Online. So it goes through that whole list of providers. Okay, so that's just to whiz through that, but at least that knows, you know, that link is taking you to this page. Very useful. I hope that's helpful.
Okay, let me go back. Where are we? Okay, so yeah, so this link at the bottom, it gives you a big page, but you'll see the PDF that Liz has just shown us on there. I'll put a link direct to the PDF as well in the follow-up email. But that just gives you all the information. So when you're choosing your provider, you need to look at the costs. So on that list that we just saw, you could see all the different costs. Some of them have a one-off setup fee, some of them have a regular monthly subscription. They all have some sort of percentage transaction charge, but there are some that don't have those setup fees. And I'll talk a bit more about GiveALittle, which Liz just mentioned, and that doesn't have any of those setup fees, but it does have a transaction charge, but again, that is low as well. You need to look at the benefits, whether they can process gift aid effectively, which most of them can, whether their sites are user-friendly, whether it's easy for you to use, or whether it's going to be very difficult for some of your donors, whether they send an automated thank you messages, which makes your life easier if you haven't got to chase everybody up and say thank you. If they send out automated thank yous, that's really, really helpful. What their reporting's like, whether they have good reporting, whether they include fundraising pages within their offer, and the functionality as well. Some of them have an app that you can download and use on a phone. Some of them come with QR codes that you can download as well, which is really useful. Some of them, such as GiveALittle, which is run through SumUp, you can use the same account to get your contactless reader, and we'll look at that more later. Is it easy to link it into your church website? Is it easy to get it onto Facebook and Twitter? Does it have a button that you can put there, or an easy way of doing that? So look at all those things and consider what's best for your situation. So GiveALittle. So Liz has already said a bit about this. This is the one Liz was just talking about. And this is the one that we found is the best value at the moment through parish buying. So if you go direct to GiveALittle, it might be more expensive, but if you go through parish buying, there's these deals that have been negotiated through the Archbishop's Council. There's no monthly charge, no setup fee, and the transaction fee is only 1.95%. And even without the other offers, it's still the best offer because the transaction fee is so low. It is partnered with SumUp, so you set up a account with SumUp. So some of you will already be registered with SumUp if you have a SumUp contactless card reader. Some of you may not be, but if you want to set up your online giving now, it might be that in the future, when the churches are open again, you want your card reader. So if you've already set up your SumUp account for your online giving platform, it'll be very easy then to get the card reader as well. You'll only have to set up one account and you can do both in that way. And as Liz said, we've got this good deal for the next 8 months free access for the premium membership. And one thing about the premium membership is that it makes the gift aid much easier to manage. So at the bottom there, we have a link to parish buying. If you go onto that link, you'll see a lot more details about SumUp and how to use that. And then there's the Vimeo link at the bottom there. And I'm going to show you, I'm not going to show you the whole thing because it's 10 minutes long, but I'm going to show you a little clip from that video. So the Vimeo link, it basically takes you through everything, how to set up your account with SumUp, how to set up your online provider with GiveALittle. It's really, really helpful. It's actually split into 3 separate chunks, how to set up your account, how to set up with your online provider, and how to promote it. And it's really, really good, or you can watch the whole 10-minute thing. But I'm just going to show you just a little clip of the beginning of that, hopefully. There's always a challenge getting videos to work, but I'm hoping it will work. It did last time. Yeah, here we are. So just let me put the sound on. Okay, shout if it doesn't work, Liz.
Setting up an online giving account. An online giving account is a way for your church to raise money via the internet. By setting up an online giving account, people can give to your church without having to visit your church building. It's easy to set up an account through parish buying with our recommended supplier, SumUp, the mobile payments provider, and our specialist online giving service, which works in tandem with a SumUp account. Of course, other providers are available, but we featured this solution because it offers parish buying members an especially low transaction rate of 1.95% per donation, which we believe is the lowest in the market. It also offers free premium membership until the end of the year, making it easy for donors to make a gift aid declaration for their donation. But remember, you will only get this rate and offer from the parish buying website. In this video, I will talk you through the process of registering an account with SumUp and opening an online giving account. Step 1. Registering.
Hold on, how do I get out of this now? Stop share. Okay, so I hope you saw that.
Just while you're doing that, we had a question, seeing if you're on that, from Shelley saying, do you have a crib sheet of instructions? The parish line video is so fast, it's hard to keep up with instructions. I'm just asking Shelley, is that the video you mean? Because I know there are a few around. So I'm just waiting for her to come back to me on that one.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the one you mean. We haven't got a crib sheet of instructions as such for that, but there is written information on parish buying as well. I can look into that a bit more, but there is written information on there as well as the videos. But you know, you can always pause the videos as well and make notes as you go along, is the other way of doing it. But I can look into it, see whether there's anything written as well. So that just gives you an idea. So that goes on for 10 minutes, but it gives you an idea of what you can see there. Okay, so promotion of online giving. So we're on the top of our sandwich now, the top layer. We've done our base. Well, we haven't really done the base layer. We've done the filling. We've signed up with our online provider. That's our filling. Now here we're looking at the bottom and the top. So the bottom is having a web presence. So that's being there, on having a website, being on Facebook, being on Twitter, being on Instagram, or whatever you want to do, having some sort of web presence. And then the promotion is all about telling people initially what the money's for and why it's important. We can't just tell somebody to give. If you were in the webinar last week, we talked about telling stories and making clear what your vision and your mission is for your church, so that people know why they're giving money and why it's important at the moment for them to give money online as well. So it's important to do that to start with. You can do things like including the offertory in your online services and show people how to use your online giving platform. So just use the offertory in creative ways, use offertory prayers as you usually would in your online services, but give people instructions on how to give online if they want to do it that way. There is a giving video which I shared in last week's webinar. If you were here, I won't show that one today, but if you weren't there last week and you'd like to watch it, it's on the link at the bottom there. And that's a really nice video just showing people why it is important that we support the church at this time. And that can be customized for a church near you. You can customize it for your church. So put something at the end showing how people can give to your church, including your donation button, including information about the parish giving scheme, or however you want people to give to your church. Facebook is still the biggest social media platform. If you don't have a Facebook page or a group, I would really recommend that you get one. It's a good idea to have a page which gives people information. A group is more internal for people within the church to join a group. So that's for information that you give to your members and the people in your church, whereas the page is open to the public. So that gives information to the public. And you could put your donation button onto that page. If you're not sure about putting it on a page that goes public, that's okay. You could put your donation button in your group, so it's just your church members who can give if you want to do it that way. But if you want visitors to see it as well, put it there on your page to give them the opportunity. So there's Twitter, there's Instagram. Those are the other two big social media platforms. Twitter is more for internal communications with your churchgoers, but it does go out to all sorts of people as well. And Twitter is more middle-aged, middle class. Instagram is a younger audience. So if you have younger people in your church, or you want to attract younger people to your church, Instagram is a really good way of doing it. It's more informal. You put up lots of pictures. It's really attractive, pictures and stories and things that will appeal to a younger audience. But in all those places, you can put your online donation button, or you can show people how to use your online giving platform.
Just going to say, it might be worth not saying about Facebook. Facebook offer a way to give, although it's something we generally, don't recommend doing because it's quite complicated and expensive, and particularly doesn't seem to work very well for churches because of not having a charity number. Isn't that right? Is that correct?
So it's not great. So it's better to sign up with your own provider and then publicise it through Facebook rather than using Facebook's method. Right, I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment. We'll go on to contactless card readers in a moment, but just if there's any questions at this stage that we can deal with.
Yeah, Sharon's asking, can I sign up once for all 5 churches, or do I have to do it 5 times?
It depends. You can, when you sign up with an online giving provider, you give your bank account details for where you want the money to go. So it depends how you're set up. If all your 5 churches share a bank account, then you do it once. But if you've got separate bank accounts for each church and you want that money to go into separate bank accounts, you'll need to set up separately for each church. Or if you decide that you can use the bank account, say, of your biggest church, and that can be shared, it's up to you, but you've got to have a separate, sign up separately for each bank account that you want to use.
Yeah. And also, the amount of time it takes to set it up individually, got to weigh that up against if you're going to have money for different churches, working that out. So it's the time of it, really. And since it is quite easy, especially once you've done it the first time, you'll find how quick it is to set one up for each church, and especially if you're going to go on to having contactless devices in those churches as well, then yeah, it's probably best to do the legwork now.
Yeah.
Do you think, Steve? Yeah.
Any other questions?
That's fine. Answer that. It's okay. Any other questions so far? Otherwise, we can.
I'll carry on if there's no more questions. No, I think we're done, aren't we? Okay, let's continue.
Keep the notes, the chats coming through. I know some churches have already got experience of using different platforms, and let us know if you've had any problems with those or really positive ones with those as well. Then do share that in the chat section so that everybody else can receive your wisdom as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Any others? Oh, hang on a minute.
More questions?
Yeah, one more question from David. Thanks, David. Could you please give us a couple of examples of truer diocese churches using GiveALittle so we can have a look? Good idea.
I have heard of a couple using it. I can't remember them offhand, but in the follow-up email, I'll put a couple of examples.
Yeah, well, is anybody here?
Unless there's anyone here who can say.
Anything today? They could let us know on chat. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've noticed a few people have raised their hands. We're not using the hand raising function because as you can't speak or we can't see you, we're not using that. If you have a question, just type it into the question and answer box. Okay, I'll continue now, but if you've got questions about either section, keep them coming, and at the end we'll come back to more questions. Okay, so I'm going to look at contactless card readers now. I've not my reader yet. There it is. Contactless card readers. So first of all, I've got a few pictures just of some of the card readers around the diocese. So there's a variety of different ones. At the top right there, that's it's a big frame, but you can see a little white thing on the right hand side, that's a little SumUp machine, and on the left hand side it's got a tablet with an app on it, so it's all set up nicely in the church. Bottom right there, that's an GiveALittle machine with an iPad. So again, it's using an app but using the small machine. And both of the ones on the left hand side, it's called a Goodbox. I'll go into more detail about these different devices later, but this is just to give you a few little pictures of some places where they're used. You can see how people have set them up in their churches with boards with information and saying thank you for your donation, that kind of thing. You can see, I'll talk about the one on the top left with the gentleman holding it. That's a Goodbox. I'll talk about those later, but from that picture you can get an idea of the size of it. Some people think they're a lot bigger than they actually are, but that's the size of a Goodbox when I come to talk about that later. Okay, so why would we want to use a digital card reader in our churches? Well, as I'm sure you all know, the use of cards is increasing all the time. People are using cards more and more, especially the younger generation, and we all want to have more young people in our churches. And some of us have many young people who use cards. They don't tend to carry money, or they use their smartphones, different ways of giving. And even if people do carry cash, they tend to carry small amounts. So somebody who might put £1 in a collection box might give £10 on a card reader. They want to give more, but they don't necessarily have that in their pockets. But if they can give on their cards, they'll be encouraged to give more and be more generous. A card reader, they can be used in different ways, but one of the ways is that they can be left in the church. They can be made secure and left in the church for visitors to use. So if your church has a lot of visitors coming through, a lot of walkers, tourists, or people like that coming through, it can be left there in the same way as you might leave a collection box in your church for people to give a donation if they've enjoyed their visit. It can be left there for visitors to do the same thing, because again, somebody who's maybe walking the coast path won't necessarily be carrying lots of cash in their pocket, but they will have a card on them and they might want to say thank you for their visit. They're very useful for baptisms, weddings and funerals. When people are coming to your church and they want to give an offering, they want to say thank you, but they hadn't thought about that before they came. They haven't got cash in their pockets, but they do want to say thank you and give a donation. So it's really useful for that. It's also useful for concerts and big events where you want people to not necessarily pay for the concert, but to give a retiring donation as they leave. Really useful for big events such as church fetes. Most of these devices are portable, so although you can secure them in your church, you can disconnect them and take them out for a church fete or an event outdoors and use them outdoors as well, and they're really useful for that kind of event. And a card reader is likely to bring in new money. There's likely to be people who will give by a card reader who wouldn't give in another way. So they are likely to bring in new money, and that's been shown in many churches where they have been used. So what kind of options are available? I'm going to go into more detail in a minute, but briefly, there are smaller handheld units. The picture there at the top is a SumUp machine. Sorry, it's not. It's an GiveALittle machine. There's also a SumUp machine, which looks like this. And then the one at the bottom there is a larger one. You saw the size of it in the picture earlier. That's a Goodbox. You can get really big Goodboxes, bigger than that can stand maybe in a cathedral or a bigger church. You can have a big standing Goodbox set up, but they're very expensive. For most churches, we'd be looking at this. It's called the Goodbox Core, this smaller size. So the smaller units, they can be used with a smartphone or an iPad with an app, so it's user-friendly. But you must have Wi-Fi or a reliable 3G connection to make one of those work. Even if you've got a good connection, but it's intermittent, it's not really going to be very good for one of those. Some people have had problems because the connection has been intermittent and they've missed out on donations. So you must have a reliable internet connection. The Goodbox doesn't need any Wi-Fi or phone signal, doesn't need internet at all. It works offline, and then the treasurer or the church warden or somebody will take it home maybe at the end of the week and upload all the donations onto the online recording platform. That's more expensive to purchase and more expensive to run. I'm going to go into details of that in a minute. The links at the bottom there give you lots more information. There's a link to parish resources, which talks you through why card readers are useful and how to use them. The parish buying link shows you all the different types of devices that you can get and the costs and everything involved with them. So they're good places to look for more information. Okay, so this is one of the ones that we would recommend if you're looking for a smaller device. So the one I'm talking about is this one that I showed you a minute ago. This is the SumUp device. So it's just a very small little device like you often see in shops these days as well, or market stalls. The device itself only costs £19. And you get this with a SumUp account. So if you set up with your online giving, your GiveALittle online giving provider with SumUp, you've already set up your account that this would link to. So you're cutting out quite a lot of work there. You buy your device, set it up with your SumUp account. But it's very cheap, but you would need a phone or a tablet or something like that to go with it. So you're not just paying £19, you'd be paying a lot more for your tablet or your phone. But if you wanted to, you could buy your device and try it out just with somebody's personal phone. You don't have to have a special phone. You could try it out with someone's personal phone. If you think it works well, later you could invest in a tablet or a dedicated phone to go with it. So for £19, it's worth having a go with just, say, the treasurer's phone and seeing how you get on. It does need Wi-Fi in the church or a reliable connection. And it's got quite low costs, this one. The transaction costs are only 1.1% for debit cards, 1.3% for credit cards at the moment. So that's really good. And you can get an app to go with it. So the picture of the tablet here shows a picture of the app that goes with it. The app is free and you can customize it according to the amounts you want to invite people to give. So that's a really useful thing to have. And then people just click on the app on what they want to give and then tap their card on the device. The device can also do chip and pin. You can see the slot there. So you can do chip and pin with it. So you can give above the contactless amount, which has gone up, hasn't it? I think it's about £45 you can give contactlessly now. But if someone wants to give more, you can do the chip and pin. And you can process gift aid just in the normal way. You can invite someone to fill in a declaration form, or if they're using contactless, not paying more than £30, you can claim with GADS as you normally would. And online, you get good reporting from SumUp that shows you all the donations, not necessarily who they're from, but the dates and the amounts of the donations so that you can see what that's for and you can see if it's eligible for GADS. So that's SumUp with or without the donations app. But this is probably one of the most cost-effective and easy methods to use. If I go on, this is Goodbox. So there are other machines as well that work without internet, but this is one that we've got a little bit of experience of. So it works without an internet signal. It's a really attractive little device, actually. And it's all in one. So it's got its screen. You don't need an iPad or a phone or anything to go with it. It's got its screen. It's all touch screen. You can see the one in the picture has been set to £3. You set a default minimum amount on it. So anyone can just walk up to it, click on it, and they give £3. You may have set yours to £5 or £2. You decide what you want to set it to. However, if people want to give more than that, they touch the screen and it's very simple to scroll up on it and they can give more. They can't give less. You set the default as the minimum, but they can scroll up and give more if they want to. The Goodbox Core, that one does cost around £350. So it is a bigger outlay at the beginning, but you'll find that that money does come back quite quickly if you're using it. If you're using it in your church permanently or for events, that will come back. And because the machine is likely to bring in a lot of new money, it's probably a worthwhile outlay, but that's for you to work out for your particular situation. The transaction cost is also a bit higher than the SumUp machine, but it's still not bad. 2.5% isn't bad really when you consider that, you know, you're probably getting in a lot bigger donations through using a contactless device than using cash. It's only contactless. It doesn't take chip and pin, although the Goodbox do also have something called a Goodbox Mini, which looks a bit like a SumUp machine. And the Goodbox Mini, you can do chip and pin on it. So if you wanted to have, for example, to have something in the office for taking payments for weddings or hall hire, you could have two devices. You could have a Goodbox Core in your church and a Mini in your office, and they would be linked to one account. So they were both, the transactions would all go into one account and one report. So that's one way you could do that if you wanted to use it for bigger donations. The picture at the bottom there, some people love these, some people hate them. I'm not sure, I haven't quite made my mind up, but this is called a good plate. And so you can see it's like a big old-fashioned brass collection plate. So you can put cash around the side of it, and in the middle there it has a Goodbox Mini, which looks a bit like a SumUp machine, in place in the middle of the plate. So people can either put their cash or their envelopes in it, or they can use their card on the Goodbox Mini in the middle. So that's something you can use if you're having an offering or handing something round, or maybe holding it at the back of church as people leave an event or something like that. As I say, you either love those or you hate them, a bit like Marmite. And gift aid, in the same way as the SumUp machine, you can ask people to fill in a gift aid declaration, or you can claim GADs for the contactless donations. So finally, some other resources. Digital labs, learning webinars. This is National Church of England have a whole series of learning webinars, which are really good actually, not just on financial matters and stewardship, but also on a whole range of subjects. It's really worth having a look and seeing if there's anything that might be helpful to you. But I've just highlighted a couple there. They have their own online giving webinars. There's one on June the 10th and there's one on June the 18th. Those are the next ones coming up, but they'll do more into the future. They change all the time, the webinars they have, so it's worth having a look every now and then and seeing if there's something useful on there. There's also a few new things coming up very soon. There'll be a blog on online giving, which will be available on Parish Resources and on a church near you. And so that'll be up-to-date information on online giving. And there's going to be another little movie that's coming on how to promote online giving. So I'm not sure exactly what that's going to be, but that's coming soon, hopefully next week. So there's a few new things. Keep an eye on the Parish Resources website. All of these new resources and new information generally comes in onto the Parish Resources website, or just drop us a line anytime and we can let you know what's happening. And these are our contacts. So if you want to contact Liz and I, we're both available on the stewardship email there, and we're both part-time, so the stewardship email might be the best way if you want a quick answer, because whoever's working at the time will respond to that. But if you want one of us individually, our own emails are at the bottom there. Okay, I'll just stop share. There we go.
Thank you very much. Right, we've got a few questions. Start with Leslie's. How long does it take to get a GiveALittle account set up once you start?
I'm told it's just a few days. From what I hear, it's just a couple of days, so not long. Is that right? Is that what you've heard, Liz, as well?
Yeah, I was going to say it's not very long at all.
Not long, even a day. I'm not sure, but quick anyway. A day or two.
That's right. If you've already got the SumUp already, which some churches already do, then it literally is.
Okay. That would be very quick.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Is my sound better now? Thanks for Etienne telling me. Is it? Oh, brilliant, great. I just
me.
That's great, thank you. Right, David has asked, is there a comparison of performance of the different devices? Not only does our gigabyte work, now getting complicated, Mini freeze when left out. We've had this question, haven't we, before? It's also really slow, even testing it next to the Wi-Fi router at home. But will SumUp be any better? The Goodbox, we're talking about the Goodbox, sorry. Gigabytes, not good. It's the Goodbox. So yeah, so good question.
Oh, right, I see the question, yeah.
I haven't seen anything about that, but we could inquire from the national team. and see if there's any information about that, because that would be interesting to know. I know you've been having problems with that. I think I would still go back to Goodbox.
I would. I saw your email actually. I was going to reply to you, but I haven't quite got around to it yet. But yeah, we haven't heard of anyone else who's had that problem with Goodboxes, that they freeze. I would go back to Goodbox. I don't know if you have done that already, but yeah, I would go back to Goodbox, because that doesn't sound right to me, and no one else has said that that's been a problem. And I know there's quite a few churches using them.
Yeah.
And they're not normally slow. So I'm not sure. I know SumUp is good as well. If you have Wi-Fi in your church, SumUp might be a good one to use. But yeah, the fact that it freezes. What I might do actually is just, I know quite a few churches who have them. I might just drop an email for you around some of the other churches and just ask if anyone else has had any issues. Just so I know whether it's a unique problem. So I'll do that for you. I'll drop an email around one or two of the ones I know of and see if there's anyone else has had that problem, but I don't think so.
And even I would ask Goodbox to replace it with a new one.
Yeah.
And just say it's just, we've tried these things, it's not working, I'll get them to replace it. It's obviously, might be something wrong with it.
Yeah.
Right. Can it let's just move that. Can an iPad be secured in an unattended church and remain on charge regarding batteries or mains?
Yeah, it can. I think you saw on one of my pictures, somebody had a really nice frame for their SumUp and their tablet. That's something, not sure where you get those from, but they are available. And that's something that kind of secures them in place. And you can plug it in at the same time as well, so it can charge up. So you can get these frames to secure them in place in a church, and that, yeah, it can be done.
Yeah, and that was from St Agnes. St Agnes, that was from, and I know Liscard have been trying different things, haven't they?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's different. So
yeah, because Liscard just got a steel frame for their iPads, which I think they just bought it online, and so it's a good steel frame that could be locked down, or I think they screwed it down onto a big desk, and then the machine, they have an iZettle, their iZettle was next to it, and they kind of locked that down as well. So there's ways you can do it. The Goodbox, somebody else has said the same about a Goodbox, I see there. The Goodbox comes with a big sort of lock thing, like a big bicycle lock kind of thing, so you kind of chain it to a pillar or something like that, and if somebody did steal it, they can't download the gifts to their own account. You can't do that. It's connected to your account, so even if somebody stole it, they would have the hardware, but they couldn't access any of the money on it. It only downloads into your own account. So even if they managed to download it, that would be a bonus to you, because it would just go straight to your account.
Yes, it's not something somebody could really use unless they were another church.
Yeah, so it would just be the hardware that you would lose.
Right. Okay. How many mini devices can attach to Goodbox?
I don't know. I'm afraid. I can find that one out for you.
That's from Etienne. So
I wouldn't. Yeah. I don't know. I'll try and find that out.
Yeah. Right. Eileen saying, how long does it take for the money to reach the church account?
Don't know the answer to that either. What device are you asking about? I mean, it'll be different for different devices. I mean, I think it's pretty quick, but I can't give you a time. But I would suggest that whichever device you're looking at going with, you could, just find out through the provider that you're going with. But I know it's fairly quick.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, David said Goodbox send the money weekly.
Okay, so, brilliant. Goodbox send the money weekly. Yeah. I should imagine it'll be similar for all of them, but I don't have the exact details.
No, I'm wondering if that's on the spreadsheet from parish resources about the different accounts. Might be one of the questions on there actually, how regularly the money is sent through. It's a good one to think about because there are some that takes a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right. But not instant though. No, it's not. No. Right. And we have some other questions. Okay, great. Yeah, Nicola, thanks, Nicola. Use iSettle, and the money usually in the account 2 to 3 days.
Brilliant. I would imagine SumUp would be similar to iSettle. In most ways, iSettle and SumUp are quite similar. So I would imagine it will be a similar setup.
So, yeah. And that question about having your device on charge regarding batteries names, yes, you can keep it on charge.
Yes, as Elsa says, Goodbox also has this stand thing that you can screw to the desk. So as well as the big lock thing, you can get this screw down stand that you can secure it to. So nice and secure.
Yeah, I think if I remember rightly, in St Agnes, the lead from the machine goes sort of under the table, they go down the side and into a socket.
Yeah, this is a SumUp, isn't it?
Yeah, keep it charged up.
Yeah.
Right, great. I think. Great, yeah, thanks, Andrew. Goodbox has screwable down footing, which attaches to a desk.
That's what I was just commenting on. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Worth repeating. Great. Thank you. Right. Well, are there any more questions or comments? I hope that's been useful. And if you think of any other questions, please send them through to us on those emails.
Can I did have some polls, which I never did. I'm still just gonna do them out of interest. I just get an idea of how many of you are actually using online giving at the moment and how many of you have contactless card readers. It just give us a good idea. This is the first one. Hopefully you can see that. Could you just click on yes or no on there for me? So online giving, okay, 75%. Okay.
Good. We usually show the results, don't we?
So the results are 25% are already, which is brilliant, and 75% are not.
That's helpful.
Yeah, that's really helpful to know. But yeah, and it would be really helpful as well actually to know if you do sign up with online giving and you start using it, we'd love to hear your comments. Just drop us an email and say, I've done this is how I found it. That would be really helpful because, you know, it's new to all of us. So we'd love to hear feedback. It'd be brilliant. I'm just going to put another poll up.
And just while you do that, well,
sorry?
If people get stuck with getting this set up, then please do drop us a line and we'll help as much as we can, or even put you in touch with someone up the road who can help you with it as well, especially once we're a little bit more able to meet up with people at 2 meters apart.
Yeah. So I've got another poll up here if you'd like to just pop your answers on there for me. What sort of contactless card reader do you have, if you have one? I haven't actually said no. I haven't put an option for no on there, which was a bit silly of me. But anyway, I'll be able to see by the percentage that votes. So if anyone else has got one, I'd be grateful if you would vote. So far, 6 of 32 of you have voted. So I'm assuming that the rest of you don't have one. So we've got SumUp. Okay, let me show you that. So iSettle and Goodbox are the most common at the moment, but I'd say it's only 6 of you have voted anyway. So yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Oh.
Thank you. Go. Great. Right, that's useful to know. So yeah, we're very happy to help in that area more if if you're getting stuck. Just to say, that brings us to the end of today, and next week we are doing a webinar on the parish giving scheme for those who are not yet signed up to parish giving scheme and want to find out how it works, the advantages, and how it can help your church, and particularly as well during this time of lockdown. People can start giving regularly through parish giving scheme. Okay, so that's at 11 o'clock next Thursday. So I want to see you again. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, Christine, for
Thank you, everybody. It's great to have so many of you with us, and I'll be sending out the follow-up email tomorrow morning, so you should receive that tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.